Hello, I'm Bene. I use she, her pronouns. I am a postdoc in the Professional Development and Postdoc Affairs Office at Boston University, and I'm working on the Productive Postdoc Conversation frameworks for the Postdoc Academy.
Hello, I'm Bennett Goldberg. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a professor of physics and astronomy at Northwestern University and one of the two multi-PIs on the Postdoc Academy project.
Finding success as a postdoc is the very first module on the first Postdoc Academy course, Succeeding as a Postdoc. It encourages postdocs to consider the social structures of their new research environment through both greater awareness of the multiple identities and roles they hold and exploring the research group and their advisors' norms.
For faculty advisors, this is an opportunity to explore with your postdoc the norms of your research group as well as social structures of subgroups. This helps your postdoc integrate quickly and effectively into your community of practice.
The reflection on social and professional identities generally initiates very interesting conversations in the discussion threads on the course platform, reflecting what for many is the first time exploring central aspects of who they are. Some of the answers have been compiled in the video I Am a Postdoc and I Am, linked below, and also presented in the word cloud shown on this slide. Mom, advocate, Black, ally, physicist, Mexican, CrossFitter, woman, teacher, husband, STEM adjacent researcher, Vietnamese. With a new lens on themselves, the module then asks postdocs to reflect on their research environments and what can be helpful to adapt to their new environment through the community of practice construct, which highlights and codifies the norms and social structures of the lab. This understanding is then used to prompt postdocs to set expectations with their mentors.
The Productive Postdoc Conversation will focus on this last element, aiming to help postdocs and their mentors discuss and set expectations. When a new postdoc joins a research group or starts working on a new project, it can be easy to go straight to goal setting, or stated otherwise, to focus on what needs to get done. This is typical as the application and hiring processes already started to significantly define the research agenda. Yet the mentoring relationship has the opportunity to be far deeper, to explore learning and guidance more broadly than research. In this brief video, we want to encourage you, both postdocs and advisors, to stop for a moment and not miss out on the importance of setting expectations for your mentoring relationship.
Setting expectations can take a lot of different forms and aims at allowing both the mentor and the mentee to discuss the why, how, when, and the what for of their mentoring relationship and the projects they will work on together. They also help both parties take a step back and depict the environment in which they will work, from the rules and regulations of their institution to the norms and mores of the research environment they will interact in most often.
Setting expectation requires clear communication and intentional effort, and it reduces the likelihood of issues down the road. To achieve this, however, both parties must go beyond assumptions and discuss the nitty-gritty. They must also address the elephant in the room, the power differential inherent in the mentor-postdoc relationship. An important note to all faculty advisors: every mentee, or nearly every mentee, struggles with any conversation that feels like the conversation. Our guidance for postdocs is to formalize it, write down a list, which makes things a little easier. Faculty advisors should focus on how to provide your postdoc mentees self-efficacy, the ongoing capacity and skill to have meaningful and deep conversations with you. The more support you provide for that, the greater their independence, agency, and overall success.
To support both advisor and postdoc in a conversation, it is useful to ask yourselves central questions. How do you each define what a postdoc is? What do you both expect from this postdoc position and from each other? How do you each define performance and productivity? As a mentor, do you expect your postdocs to hold other responsibilities and roles than conducting research? For example, do you expect postdocs to help mentor students and trainees, or to do some lab jobs? As a mentee, do you wish to gain teaching or mentoring skills during your postdoc? how much time away from research responsibilities must be carved out in both cases for the postdoc to wear all these hats.
Also, as a mentor, how frequently do you like to meet with your mentees? How do you like communicating feedback? How does your mentee like receiving that feedback? How frequent are team meetings and what are their goals and structures? Who's leading team meetings and facilitating conversations? Discussing the nitty-gritty also involves talking about what to do if conflicts arise. Can you identify the difference between a straightforward miscommunication and honest disagreement? How do you both manage conflicts? Do you like discussing issues as they arise, or do you prefer to set aside a specific meeting time to discuss issues and potential solutions? If you have different ways of solving conflicts, how can you find a compromise? Mentoring relationships will have highs and lows, and having a strategy ahead of time to navigate the lows is helpful, especially to prevent issues from escalating when they arise or festering beneath the surface, unaddressed.
The overarching goal of discussing expectations is to allow the mentor and the mentee to get to know each other's goals, ways of working, what they wish to gain from the postdoc professionally and personally, as well as boundaries. The American Psychological Association defines boundaries as psychological demarcations that help a person set realistic limits on their participation in a relationship or in an activity. Discussing boundaries can thus involve sharing and acknowledging what work-life balance means and creating rules around working days, working hours, and turnaround time for email responses. For example, when one of my postdoc supervisors shared with me that they did not expect any responses to emails before 9 a.m. and after 6 p.m. on weekdays, it helped me better define my working hours and lifted the pressure of having to reply to emails right away, especially at night or during weekends.
The power differential that exists between postdocs and faculty sometimes prevent postdocs from asking questions about issues perceived as more sensitive, like boundaries or work-life balance. It is therefore helpful for postdocs to have a document on hand with questions on boundaries and expectations to help articulate professional and personal boundaries. We have provided you with a table of questions to help discuss all these points in the references below the video. The rest of this faculty toolkit contains a video interview of faculty members who share how they define a successful postdoctoral experience and how they communicate expectations with their postdocs. You will also have access to a reflection framework to help you prepare for and maximize the productivity of your conversation with your postdoc mentee. Remember to focus on self-efficacy and support. We wish you a productive conversation.